Hi, I'm Herb Blair, and this podcast is Brett Favre has Parkinson's with a question. I came to that conclusion after looking to his eyes and his face. He had the appearance of seeing the Grim Reaper.
Brett Favre has been open about his concerns regarding brain health, particularly in relation to the concussions he sustained during his NFL career. In 2016, he revealed that he had undergone testing that indicated early signs of cognitive decline, and he expressed concerns about the long-term effects of concussions. In 2021, it was reported that he had been diagnosed with CTE-like symptoms, which refers to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a progressive brain condition associated with repeated head injuries. However, it's important to note that a definitive diagnosis of CTE can only be made posthumously through an autopsy. Favre has been an advocate for player safety and has spoken out about the need for better protocols and awareness regarding concussions in sports. If there have been any updates or changes to his condition since my last knowledge update in October 2023, I would recommend checking the latest news sources for the most current information sent from my
Parkinson's, like Jim Reynolds, father Ryan Reynolds, and myself, has no tremors. David Basil, the ultimate host, is out greeting anyone that will come along, and so I was accommodating and got a chance to talk to him.
Hey, David.
Herb, how are you? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, I was going to say, because I have delusional Parkinson's, like what he's talking about with the concussions was really important. I'm going to try to get some more information that and put on a little podcast.
Yeah.
But I appreciate, you give me some attention. You had in the past.
Yeah.
According to Boston University researchers, 90% of former NFL players have shown signs of the degenerative brain disease chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, which is caused by frequent concussions. Former players that suffered from CTE include Junior Seau, Mike Webster, Ken Stabler, and Frank Gifford, among others. Traumatic brain injuries, common among athletes who play football, have previously been associated with diagnoses of neurodegenerative diseases, including Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and CTE. The NFL has implemented a standardized concussion protocol while changing gameplay rules to lessen the number of hard hits to the head, though hundreds of concussions are still reported annually. Key background. Parkinson's disease is the second most common neurodegenerative disorder in the U.S. behind Alzheimer's and has no cure. Between 5% and 10% of people with Parkinson's are 50 or older. Most treatments, including brain implants and drugs, aim to suppress symptoms, which include trouble walking, movement issues, tremors, memory loss, loss of smell, and depression. The cost of treating the disease in the U.S. is estimated to be $14 billion annually. Researchers recently unveiled a new test to identify the disease, marking the first time clinicians can monitor, detect, and define Parkinson's using objective biological terms.
But anything we kind of joked about last year with Peyton that I missed out there. So what would be is this your happy place when you're doing the
I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work and a lot of prep and a lot of pressure and that kind of thing. But it's good. It's fun because everybody enjoys it.
But you do a real good job.
Thank you.
I enjoy it. And I used to. I was down here for a temporary, and then I moved here recently, and I'm down here because of Parkinson's and other family issues. But I'm glad to get you on the video.
Yeah, well, that's what I remember. It was last year for Peyton, right?
Yeah.
Well, good to see if I can ever do anything for you. Let me know.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
From last year.
Okay, I attended the Little Rock Touchdown Club. I wore my orange shirt, and I was using my walker, so I was probably maybe one of only, one out of 1,300 or so, and I wasn't able to get Peyton Manning's attention. I know that he was a high-dollar speaker, but he didn't really have any time for signing autographs or talking one-on-one. So there was some good news and bad news out of that. The good news was that I was able to catch David Basil after it was over and kind of talk to him about what he thought about dealing with people with differences like disabilities or even just physical differences like the sports, and talked about his happy place. And then I found the bad news after I had finished up was that interview had got lost in a cloud. So I don't know if I can ever recover that. But probably the real good news there was, I didn't get an interview with Peyton Manning, and it got lost in a cloud, because that would have been really bad news.
Okay, here I am with Peyton and Archie Manning at a cable convention.
Peyton Manning is looking right at me. He's even dragged in his brother and his dad. It can't be that he needs the money. He's already proven to the world that he's so funny. So why does he keep making all these ads?
Well, Brett Favre can be often seen in documentaries, but rarely in a box office hit like Along Came Mary or There's Something About Mary.
Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Yeah, I called him, Mary. I told him to pick up Warren and get down here. See, your friend Tucker was lying about a couple of other things. Brett never said those bad things about Warren. He loves Warren. And from what he told me on the phone just now, he loves you too. He's the guy you should be with.
That's right, Mary. You know I'll always be true to you.
Shit, this isn't fair. Jesus. I feel like an idiot. See, I realized something today. I'm no better than any of these guys. I mean, none of them love you, really. They're just fixated on you because how you make them feel about themselves. I mean, that's not real love. It's I don't know.
Wait, Mary, don't listen to him. This is just another one of his stupid little ploys.
Strowman, you are so full of shit.
Yeah, you're the biggest stalker of the show, man.
Stand here and tell me that you're not nuts about this girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Oh.
Hey, good luck, Brett.
Yeah, thank you.
She's a great gal. Take care of her. I'll see you, Mary.
Hey, Ted.
Hey, Warren. See you later.
Okay, goodbye, Ted. Goodbye.
God, Mary, I missed you.
Hey, Brett, what are the chances I could get you to give me a little autograph on this pump here, huh? Something nice to the wife and kids.
What?
Oh, shut up. Cock tease.
Well, we'll expect to see
The stinky voice of Rex Nelson.
Oh, I'll run your camera.
Well, I'll try to put you on my podcast.
Okay.
You'll be a video. You'll be a little. But we'll have some fun with it.
Okay.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Here's a football player and his story.
It's like unless you're say that again. You went to where now?
We went to Children's Hospital, and they told us that he could not get an MRI without having blood coming out of his ears or nose because insurance doesn't pay for it anymore.
So he has
he had a concussion, and his head hurt, bad headache, and they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think that's what Brett's trying to take care of too. I think that's a good subject.
Asking for forgiveness rather than permission.
be here? Just
Well, okay, not much because they don't want, we've been telling people no selfies and stuff.
yeah. Well, I'm not going to do much. I want to talk to him about Parkinson's, but voice concussion things here. So just want to mention.
Yeah, get a picture because we're not. He's trying to leave us.
Okay, I understand. I'll just mention that.
Just nice and quick. My dad had Parkinson's.
Yeah. Hey,
Hi.
I got delusional Parkinson's, and I
Received like the Grim Reaper.
Good to meet you. I just
Likewise.
What you're doing is great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
September 10th, 1987. A 17-year-old who started the year as the 7th-string quarterback comes off the bench to lead Southern Miss to a come-from-behind win over Tulane. Fast forward to 1990. 2 months after nearly being killed in a car accident, Favre led Southern Miss to a comeback win over Alabama.
Takes, looks to throw, guns the left side of the end zone, and it's diving grab, caught in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay!
They say for an NFL quarterback, availability may be the most important ability. Brett Favre made an NFL record 321 consecutive starts. He did it while playing at an elite level. You're looking at the first NFL quarterback to pass for 70,000 yards, complete 6,000 passes, throw for 500 touchdowns, and record wins over all 32 teams in the NFL. This three-time most valuable player led the Packers to 7 division titles, 4 NFC championship games, and 1 Super Bowl title. Please welcome the former quarterback for Mississippi's Hancock North Central High School, NFL Hall of Famer, Brett Favre.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, it's. I was telling Brett. I said, I know you get these reactions in Mississippi and Green Bay and all the places you go, but never been to Little Rock. And how about this? I mean, we had to move venues for folks wanting to come see you.
This is awesome. Very impressive. As long as I get more than Peyton Manning. I will call Peyton right after this and say I had 500 more people than you did. Now, Peyton's a good friend.
Yeah, he was great. Now, this week, I don't know if you guys know this, but this Thursday night, I believe, Netflix has a special coming out called Concussed.
Former Hawkeye football star Tyler Sash diagnosed with CTE.
I guess if my son was Tom Brady or Brett Favre or some of those guys, it would get a lot more attention from our country.
Atlanta has selected Brett Favre, quarterback, Southern Mississippi. Brett Favre!
Would I have done it different had I known? I don't know that.
Tyler just had kind of this magnetic personality.
I can't tell you how many times my head hit the turf.
Concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury.
The Giants rookie suffered a concussion in the NFC Championship game.
Player down for the Giants. That's Sash.
Well, I don't think he ever recovered from that.
I unequivocally think there's a link between playing football and CTE. The stress and the trauma.
Players will not help themselves. They're brought up in a culture of denial.
And that's scary.
The anxiety, the depression, something was not right.
99% of the people that they looked at showed signs of CTE.
Don't ever be a fool and think otherwise.
This is Tyler, 100%.
Knowing what I know now, probably I wouldn't have played football.
After a concussion, I probably wouldn't have went back in the game, but back then you did.
We're looking at a dangerous full-contact sport where too many players play too long and therefore suffer physical consequences, including, especially importantly, CTE.
Good things will come from Tyler's story.
I think this documentary is on YouTube, not Netflix.
And I don't know all the details about it, but I know that there's a picture of it right there. Painted a protocol, concussed. I know I've read where you've said, if you evaluated concussions the way they do today, back when you played, you would probably had over 1,000 concussions. So talk about what that show is going to be about and your struggle having to do it.
It's a documentary. And in fact, I had someone send me, right as I was eating, a 16-year-old quarterback in Georgia just recently died from a head injury in a game. So
concussions are serious. They're very serious. And yeah, we look at them differently today, but we still, the same problems still exist. We don't really have a treatment. Helmets, like, I don't know if any of you ever saw the movie Concussion. Will Smith was in it, and he portrayed Dr. Benjamin Amalu, who was, I think, a coroner at the time in Pittsburgh, who discovered CTE. So I'm actually talking on a conference call with Dr. Amalu, and I asked him, when's a good time to play tackle football? And he sort of chuckles, and he says, never. And he said, not to get very technical with you, but he said, the human head is not designed to do what a woodpecker, he used that as an example, and I thought, this is kind of weird, but
woodpeckers are known for pecking wood to find insects and create nest cavities. They have strong beaks and shock, absorbent skulls to withstand the impact. Their long tongues help extract insects from trees. Found worldwide, woodpeckers play a crucial role in controlling insect populations and maintaining health.
But he said a woodpecker bangs on a pole in a tree all day, never gets a concussion. He said the reason why is the brain is sort of built in like a cork. And when the head hits something and stops, the brain stops as well. Where the human head, most concussions, like for me, were when I hit the turf, the whiplash effect. He said, so when you hit something with your head, the head stops, the brain keeps going. So it's not designed, and that's where your bruising occurs. And that was really the first time I thought about it. But I think the NFL has done a good job of rule changes and things like that. But I think that they need to sink more money into finding a cure or a treatment. Which we don't have.
Can you tell from a memory standpoint? Can you tell it is affecting you at this point?
You know, it's hard to say, and I say this jokingly. When you turn 50, before you turn 50, you always hear parents well, you wait till you turn 50. Your damn eyesight goes, and you forget your keys, and they're in your hand, and that's all happened to me. You know, so. Is it because I'm 50? Is it because I played 321 games? And maybe the answer is a little bit of both. You know, I mean, you're seeing more and more guys. ALS is something you see, and I've talked to several different neurologists, and they said the one thing we know about ALS, and it's been around a long time, is the more head trauma you have, the more chances you have of getting that or a neurological disease. So it's really frightening. And I have 3 grandsons that play soccer and baseball, and have been asked many times, will you encourage them to play football? No. If they want to play, I'll support them, but I'm not going to encourage them to play it unless they want to.
The other part about that, and it's well documented, and one thing about you're pretty honest about stuff to the point where, hey, sometimes in life things don't go well. You got to work your way through them, and you got hooked on Vicodin, and sort of gave America a heads up what was coming with, the addiction that we have with opioids.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing that you were able to function. I think you were taking 15 Vicodin a pop at one time, just trying to deal with the pain of it. And but you fought your way through that, which I think was pretty amazing.
Well, I went to rehab 3 times, which a lot of people didn't know this. The one time that people knew about was right prior to the year we won the Super Bowl. And you're right, I was taking 16 Vicodin ES at one time, every night. And, you graduate up to that. I didn't take that, initially it was 1 or 2. And Reggie had separated my shoulder in a game in Milwaukee, and that was the first time I took pain pill, and I liked the way it made me feel after the fact. And so it progressively got worse and worse and worse, and to a point, and I've talked about this, and I know people, it kind of grosses me out. Like I would be out in a bar, which that was a long time ago, and I would take these pills, and sometimes I'd be in the bathroom, and I would vomit because I got to where I could. 16 pills is hard to swallow at one time. And I would throw them up and would pick them up out of the throw up. That's the, what addiction can do to you. And I knew at the time, this this ain't good. But yet, I had won 3 MVPs in a row, and part of me was like, well, I'm doing something right. But meanwhile, I mean, I was definitely heading in the wrong direction. I had 2 seizures. One was the day before a game, and one was in routine ankle surgery right after the season. And normal people just don't have seizures. So that was really the red flag that kind of got everyone's attention. And people who have suffered with addiction, like myself, you think you're the only one that knows. I really thought no one had a clue what I was doing, when everyone knew that something wasn't right. And I'm just the first stint in treatment. I went to Topeka, Kansas, a Menninger Clinic, spent 73 days, and told them they didn't know what they were talking about, fought the system. And I'll never forget the day I was walking out. All I remember, the nurse's name was Kim. And I walked out, and I was like, see ya. And she said, you'll be back. And I was like, yeah, right. Well, a year later, I was back. And whole different mindset. I mean, it can hit anybody at any time. It can sneak up on you before you know it. And that's what it did to me.
A couple things, and then we'll wrap up here. I was reading, Leroy Butler said this about you. He said that Brett was the best teammate, in my opinion, ever, and probably in all of sports, because nothing bothered him, especially not color, especially not a guy's religion or sexuality or anything like that. Here's another one. This is from Mike Holmgren, who said about you, there are a lot of fabulous quarterbacks, but not everyone has the locker room like Brett did. All of his teammates loved him. Now, he was a knucklehead sometimes with me, but they loved him, and they played hard for him. He had so much fun playing. And so you hear those two things, you can make all the millions and win all the championships, but man, to hear those kind of things and respect as a person, they got to be really something special to you.
Well, to me, that's what, I never tried to be something I wasn't. I missed a team picture as a rookie. I was a knucklehead. You live and learn from things, but really, for me, it all came down to I loved playing. That's what I grew up doing. I love my teammates and love competing with them, competing against them, the battle part of it. But at the end of the day, I was just doing what I loved, and people appreciated it. It wasn't pretty all the time, I can assure you of that, but very few people complete their first pass to themselves. I've done just about everything, and very thankful. I played way longer than I ever thought I would. And that's the other thing, I would sit at the breakfast table with guys in training camp, new guys, and I would hear them talking. I'm playing 8 years, I'm playing 10. And like the next year, you're like, where'd that guy go? When you start trying to dictate how you're going to play and where you're going to play and how long you're going to play, rather than whatever happened. And I was happy to be a part of any team, especially when I got to play, and was fortunate to play with some great guys like K. Jack and Terrell, Leroy, played with some great coaches. So, no regrets.
Last thing, so many people respect you. Here at the Touchdown Club, we'll bring in all kind of folks, and sometimes somebody will say something about it. And one of the things I say is that we bring people in, we bring players and coaches, whatever, and let our people decide how they feel. Does it bother you that when in this world of social media, when people judge you and say the kind of person you are, that have never met you, don't know the circumstances, does that bother you, or does it bother your family? Do you let that either?
It bothers my girls, but it's a different time we're living in, and I think we all can agree with that. That's about the only thing we can agree with, and it's really sad. A lot of the younger folks base their worth off of how many likes they get on social media, and that's certainly wrong. We grew up in a time you and I, K-Jack, most people out here where there were no cell phones. And we often wonder, how in the hell did we get by? We got by pretty good. We manufacture our own fun. You know, it's really more upsetting to my girls. Look, not everybody's going to like me, and that's fine. I try to, you know, do the best I can, but I'm not going to be something I'm not. And you know, and I don't get on social media to see how many people like whatever. If you like me, great. If you don't, so be it. But I'm just going to keep being me.
Do you wish you could have played in the NIL era?
No, honestly, I don't, because it worked out pretty good for me. Southern Miss didn't give me a dime. They didn't have a dime. But I think about the NIL and what it would have been like had I, you know, been in that era and would have been popular. You know, the way it worked out for me, no one was going to offer me money. But that's good, because I went to the one place that worked best for me. I got to play pretty much right away. And now, maybe that's not the case somewhere else. And the NIL, I mean, you got players making more than the coach. You know, the coach says, hey, get your butt, you need to get in there and start studying. He's like, I make more money than you. You know, I'm not saying that happens. I'm saying that could happen. And I don't know if that's good for college sports, unless they regulate it. And I'm not smart enough to figure out how they do that. But I think you know, the Southern Misses that were competitive when I was there will have a hard time competing with any of the bigger schools these days. I mean, beating Alabama and Auburn and Florida State, I don't see that happening anytime soon, sadly.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest in the history of football. Let's give it up for Brett Favre, everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, Brett.
Thank you very much.
Watch the complete video on YouTube or PBS.